This is Kobie Dee, you're watching BloodJuice Untapped. Boom.
So let me take you back to where this story began. Little Jody, cousin Cody, and their best friend Ben. They used to play and pretend like they had money to spend, but in reality a dollar wasn't common for them. When daddy locked in the pen,
I was sitting up in my bedroom. I was probably about like 18, 19, and I think I just wanted to write a story just to show an insight of what we go through in our community and why people really do the things that they do, and why troubled kids end up as troubled adults. And that's really where the story came from. So let me take you back to where this story began. Little Jody, cousin Cody, and their best friend Ben, they used to play and pretend like they had money to spend, but in reality a dollar wasn't common for them. So the kids that I talk about in that story is either kids that I've seen, positions that I've been in, or people that I know that I looked up to when I was younger and that are now either dead or in prison. The character names that I came up with, so I've got an auntie named Jody, I've got a cousin named Cody, and I've got an uncle named Ben. So I was like, the characters don't relate to where the names came from, but the names really just came out like that. But it was really a point in my life when most of the stuff that I was talk about in the story is the stuff that I was seeing, and it was that's really like the characters just connected to what I was going through at the time in my life. So when daddy locked in the pen, the others gone from the start. Family's broken apart. Jody's mother used to beat him till his skin turned dark. His shit was bad and that grog made him sleep in the backyard with both of his dogs. That's why he started smoking. Felt like his only escape. She used to beat him because she only saw his father's face, but he was only a kid, 14 years old, trying to keep a warm heart in a world so cold. He was dealt with that from the day he was born, and it's like trying to keep a good heart in a world that has showed you nothing but violence or addiction, or just trying to keep a kind heart in a world that's just tried to push you down. His cousin Cody didn't have it much better, but he was making that cheddar. However, he could but never forget where he came from, so he had to be strong, because his mother's getting sick and doesn't have too long, so he had to step up, no relying on luck, robbing anyone he sees just to make a quick buck. Back in the days we used to call them snatchers. So it's like you run up and you snatch a phone out of someone's hand, or you run up and you do a bag snatch, you snatch a bag or something. Like, sounds bad, but like a lady holding a purse or something, and then it was just like a easy, quick way to just make money. When it came to actually like sticking up people or robbing people, it's not as common like that in that way. Especially at the age of 16 to 17, a lot of the kids get into, when I was around that age, it was all about robbing houses, searching through cars, and just, that's really where that came from. Their buddy Ben wasn't known to be calm. First person that they thought of when they heard a car alarm, he was always in a daze, couple of pills up in his palm. See, his mother was an addict with a needle in her arm. Because I used to work on a youth service as well, and some of the stories that I hear from just where the kids are coming from, and like especially if I can come from my own experience, like my father is like addicted to drugs, and I think like I just used a lot of my own experience as well from in my own family. Having a father that's addicted to drugs sort of, it reflects on the way that I write, and it reflects on my art as well. So when I talk about Jody, when I talk about Cody, his mum being a drug addict and stuff, it's just reflecting on my own family issues, and it's sort of just other kids in the community and stuff as well. Because I've had my own drug issues, and I've had my own alcohol issues, and had my own problems with addiction, and sometimes the worst thing for me is like I reflect that I'm becoming my father in ways. And that's not to take anything away from my dad, because I know my dad has had his own struggles, and I know my dad's been through his own shit, and but I do definitely reflect on my addictions that it could come from that, you know. But I definitely don't blame my dad. Sometimes I just don't like that I'm turning into my dad. Yeah, the three shared that same struggle, destined for the hard life, forgetting in the trouble, and they did. On this particular day, Cody thought of an idea, but guaranteed pay. But the plan to little Jody didn't seem okay. But his older cousin Cody just convinced in a state. He told him this is what will separate the boy from a man. So we carried on and listened to the rest of the plan. Say if you was at that age and your older cousin or some shit was asking you to come out to go rob something or anything like that, and then for you to turn it down, or for you to say no, or for you to walk away, when you're coming from that environment, that's just looked at, you'd be called a bitch.
Yeah.
Or you'd be called like, yeah. And for really, it was like, the way that I sort of tried to explain it was, that was the mentality. That's the mentality. It's like, that's what makes you a man, is when you go out and you do that shit. You go out and you go fucking, just do straight shit, or just like, that's just the mentality of a lot of the kids in the community these days. It's like, that's the shit that we brought, especially not having a dad in the house. It's like, for someone to tell you that this is what is going to make you a man, so you believe that shit. Especially like, for me, I used to always think fucking going to juvie or doing all that shit was just a way to become a man, or going out in the streets and doing all that shit was the way to become a man. And it wasn't until I got to this age, really, that I realised all that shit doesn't make you a man. What makes you a man is you're taking on responsibility and priorities and taking control of your own life. He said, yo, it's really quite simple. Run up to the secchi, put that gun up to his temple, right? And me and Ben will take the register. He makes a move, you take a shot and show him that you better, bruh. Okay, and so off they went. It was a long, quiet ride with a strong, sweaty scent. Little Jody was shaking up in his boots. He thinks if he shoots, then he might just compromise the loot. But it's too late for second thoughts. They all jump up at the car and just straight for the doors. And Jody cocks his gun, pushes straight to the guard. Says if you cooperate, then this don't gotta be hard. Says if you wanna go home, sit you lay on the floor. Don't move until all of us are out of the door. Ben and Cody's got the money, everything seems smooth until he's seen that Seki's arm slowly start to move. But Jody can't pull that trigger. Instead he takes a bullet wound straight to his liver. And it was no surprise. I grabbed the money in a hurry, left him there to die. He doesn't wonder why. He just looks up to the sky and smiles in pride. He's happy he can finally die. Because he could never do it himself. We never thought that a soul would even dare to help. And so we pray that he rest in peace. But we're just happy that he finally made it out of the streets. When you see, especially like when you see someone that's come from a troubled home and they're fucked up in the head, and like you can see that they're so fucked up, and you watch them progress into the person that they become. And then yeah, I guess it's just sort of just that relief maybe that person has found peace now that they're not here anymore, and they've finally made it out of that because there was no other way that they could. And yeah, it's just really just a community's view from like, I don't know how to explain it, like sort of just, we're happy that he's made it out of that lifestyle, and we're obviously still grieving for them, but we're happy that he's not in that position that he is in anymore. Definitely, like, especially when I do performances, I do a lot for like youth performances and stuff, and it's always iffy if I should do that song or not. But then again, when I think about it, it's like a lot of the kids in the community understand that song and can relate to that song, and it's like I don't really have to censor myself when it comes to it because these kids understand that stuff. And when I speak about those characters, really a lot of the kids in the community can relate to those characters, and it becomes more of just a song and becomes more of a story of what the kids see on a day-to-day basis, really. So the track, I feel like it's funny because I didn't think it would do as good as it did, and that's why it's been in, like, I've just had it for a long time. Just been sitting in my rap book for a long time, sitting in my head. And before we did the Bars of Steel, this is me and my manager, we had to talk about it, and we just thought we'd do something different to just talking about myself and just spitting bars and just, yeah, spit something that's meaningful and something that's going to really hit, and it did.
Someone that's been through the shit to where you are now, how do you feel like you've changed, like, personally?
Personally, if I'm going to be honest, I feel like every day I'm still changing. I feel like we're just always faced with different hurdles. I feel like, especially this time in my life, I'm definitely faced with very, very different hurdles to what I was back then. Back then it was about becoming a man, and back then it was about finding myself and sort of following the crowd and doing what everyone else was doing. Now it's like, I'm 21 years old, I'm a man, and there's different problems for me to face as a man. And yeah, I feel like every day I'm just trying to be better than I was yesterday. And I still fall, but I still get back up every time. So to the kids looking up to me, I'd say just don't follow the crowd. Be yourself at all times. Never be afraid to be yourself. Don't follow no crowds, don't follow what the next person's doing. Just if in your heart you don't feel something's right, and if in your heart you feel like there's a situation where you can walk away from, always follow your gut instinct, because your intuition is 99% of the time right. So yeah, just follow what your heart says.
Alright, we just interviewed Kobie Dee right there. As a whole, the guy's dope as fuck. Really genuine. Coming from someone that, you know, didn't have the most positive upbringing, and to do what he's doing now, I just feel like it brings so much more hope to other kids that are trying to do something for themselves. So, I'm like, good on him. BloodJuice, we out. Yes, sir.
So let me take you back to where this story began. Little Jody, cousin Cody, and their best friend Ben. They used to play and pretend like they had money to spend, but in reality a dollar wasn't common for them. When daddy locked in